I'm Spencer Meyers, Artistic Associate and Ensemble Member of Jobsite Theater Company. And this is my From the Vault. Okay, we are in my art studio and there is a table with a plethora of things to look at, so let's start with books. How appropriately that we start with the photo album I made of my very first Jobsite show. Original postcard. Ooh. Note from David. I was just so excited. This photo album has some of my absolute favorite pictures of anyone in the company. I mean, this one of Summer alone, it just makes me happy. I was stoked. I had wanted to work with this company for so long, ever since I was in high school, and so to be given that opportunity and knowing that this could have been my only opportunity, Jamie, this was, quite special for me, and I treasure that time and simple time and the unknown, and I'm very blessed to have been able to do the show twice and to have documented that first time. Speaking of doing it twice, the second time we did the show, I was a much better actor. And my scene, solo scene with Jason Evans and Katrina Stevenson was from the book Lost Lions. And the first time I did it, it was probably one of the most dreadful things to watch, aside from Willowdale Handcart. But this second time around, I was so happy to be able to do this scene again, because I grew so much as an actor, and it all made sense. And so for opening night, or closing, I don't remember, but Summer Bonenkamp Jenkins gave me this. She actually bought books for all of us and for all of our stories, and she got me Lost Lions. We're going to go to one of my favorites, Pericles. Now, I'm pretty certain, I could be wrong, but because I don't own gold, I'm pretty certain that this chain was what I wore in Pericles as Pericles' right-hand man. I could be wrong, and if I am, well, you're looking at a piece of jewelry I own that I think has a story and doesn't. I don't know if I was supposed to take this. Whoops. Moving on. Of course, in the back, you'll see my sneakers that I wore for Shakespeare Abridged. Of course, I bought them and kept them because they're fabulous. Moving on to Forbidden Planet. This was part of our set. This was control panels that I never got to play around with because I was the ship's cook. But while we were doing strike and taking apart that set, Brian Small here said that if we wanted anything, we could take it. And of course, I took it because it's Forbidden Planet. And it was my first Jabe musical, and that made me... That was a moment, to document in my life, to finally be able to perform on the Jabe stage. And doing a show with Heather Gerger and Jonathan Harrison. It was the first show I did with them, and these are two people who I used to see frequently in Jabe shows, and they were like theater royalty for me. So, that it's a very special time for me. Speaking of Forbidden Planet, we will move on to a cast gift that I received from Mark Warren, our guitarist. He got us all comic books that resembled our, reminded him of our characters, and of course I got Star Trek, and the red is very symbolic for me since I was the one wearing a red shirt. And I treasure, and of course it is in the plastic of the script. So moving on to one of my absolute favorite shows I ever did, 39 Steps. Now, if you've seen Amy's From the Vault, you would have noticed that she had two paintings of two of her characters. I did paintings of everyone in the show, every actor. I even did one of myself. I gave it to my mother because I don't really want a painting of myself. But I did make cast gifts, which were photos I had taken of everyone in the show. If you've done a show with me, you know I love taking photographs backstage and documenting the process. And there were so many great moments of like great stage lighting, and I love these people. This was an unforgettable experience doing this show, and it's actually what led me to being able to perform in Shakespeare Abridged this last season, which I'm very thankful for. But yes, I treasure, it's a treasured moment right here. Moving on, this little dog toy, Roz Potenza gave me this during our second show that we got to do with each other, the Hot Nights for the War Wives of Ithaca. This was my gift from her. I really hope I'm remembering this correctly. It's been a long time, but I've held it ever since. You know, we valued each other quite a lot. Our first show that we did was Gory Stories, the first round of Gory Stories together, and we were husband and wife, Mr. and Mrs. Splatos, and so I have a very, very lovely kinship with Roz Potenza. Good people right there. Makes me happy. Moving on with the Potenzas, we will go, I just totally dropped that, it fell on my floor. We will move on to this lovely beauty. If you've seen Paul Potenzas from the Vaults, or if you saw the show Skull and Connemara, you you know that there was about 5 skulls a night that were smashed. With rehearsals and prototypes, I probably made about 300 skulls during that process. There is a skull making video as well. And there was a lot of trial and error. This one, it's so gross underneath. I was trying to figure out how to get the skull to be hollow, and there was a balloon in here, which clearly, balloons, they float with air in them, which made it too thick. So it would not have been able to been smashed, and so this was a ruined skull per se. So I instead then painted it and threw some liquid gold on it, and now it's a piece of art in my art studio. Lonesome West, I helped David Jenkins paint with markers all of these statues. There were so many, and we started having fun with them, and this is what I did. I was like, let's make a pride one. So Colleen Cherry mentioned some of the things I made for the girls of Lizzie, the musical. And so for opening night gifts, she also made us magnets. And mine was of Lizzie Borden wearing the Hedwig makeup.
Ladies and gentlemen, whether you like it or not,
it's time for Hedwig. I'm not exactly sure what show I did with Jonathan where he gave me this, but this was Jonathan Harrison had this book, and he gave it to me knowing I would love it and treasure it forever, which I have. It's actually always on my coffee table. This photo is to lead into the next item. Because of my obsession with Hedwig, it was quite a highlight of my life. It's the show that changed me as an actor and made me, I believe, a better actor and better human being. This picture, there's some picture on my Instagram or something of me side by side with Miss Piggy, because I felt that in the first run of Hedwig, I became my favorite Muppet, which was Miss Piggy. So therefore, I can't believe I'm about to show this. I purchased a Miss Piggy ceramic doll, and I did do the Hedwig makeup on her. It's kind of amazing. I'm not gonna lie, but it's also disturbing that I am in love with the show so much that I felt the need to make Miss Piggy, buy a doll of Miss Piggy and turn it into Hedwig. So the original run, you can see a picture there. The wig was a little busted. And by the end, it was very busted. So in the remount, of course, I got a new wig, which I was very happy to receive. But I did ask and beg and plead, and I was able to take the original wig home, which is on my Vincent Price bust. There was a wig head, but that wig head has the donkey head from Midsummer Night's Dream on it, probably in storage by now. This amazing head wig puppet. Oops, didn't mean to zoom in. It's so ridiculous that I have this, and during quarantine was able to make a fun little video. So I'm very excited that Hedwig will always be a part of my life now and forever. So fun fact, I designed costumes for 2 shows for Jobsite. One of them was History of the Devil. I did keep the rendering that I did for Summer's character, Verrier. Poor thing had to wear dreadlocks. I made her wear dreadlocks. Ugh, and they were... I learned a lot from that show. Every time is an experience. Every experience is a learning lesson, I should say. This was one of them. Unfortunately, I was supposed to smoke with dry eyes. That did not work, but I think I redeemed myself as far as making things for Jobsite in later years. Awards really don't mean that much to me. It's a nice gesture, but one of my favorite things that I have received was in 2008, I got the Jobsite Jobby Award, which I was claimed as one of the rock stars that year for going above and beyond. This is one of my favorite things I've received from the company. Back in the day when we used to have the Jobsite Rocks over at New World Brewery, we would hand out these jobbies, and this is always something that is very special to me, and I have it framed and hanging up in my art studio, and anytime I need a pick-me-up, I'll look over and I'll just see Jason Evans giving me a thumbs up, and therefore I know that life is good. Below that, I do have Creative Loafing Awards that I've received, and of course, the time that I was on the cover of Centerville for the Strauss Center. I have in my apartment from the second floor going down the stairs to the first floor, posters of all of the Jobsite shows I have been a part of. The ones here are kind of very symbolic to me in many ways. The original Gory Stories, Dog Sees God, Silence, 39 Steps, and something special here, the very first Jobsite anything I ever did, which was a job side project for the show The House of Yes. I painted that poster. That's my artwork. And that was, because of that, I was able to go to the callbacks a couple of years later for Gory Stories. Speaking of things I painted, we have over here Pericles, the original Joe Pop Rock musical. I painted this. I just found this recently, to be quite honest. I had forgotten I had painted this, and now it's up on my wall with all the other posters. This show means so much to me, being able to do the original Tampa run and to remount it and go to New York with it. It's not to mention Pericles, Joe Pop musical. I finally got to be in a Joe Pop musical since he wrote Maxwell, and that was the show that made me want to be part of Jobsite. So it's very special for me. Tiger Lily's autographs. This right here, Hedwig, our first run, all of us signed the poster. I will always treasure this. So if you saw the original Gory Stories, you will remember the footlights were in these square boxes, rectangular boxes, that looked like little kids' builder cubes, with the letters. On each of the boxes were characters from Edward Gorey paintings, and when we were doing Strike, I nabbed this one and I had everyone sign it. Like I said before, I didn't know if I was ever going to be in another Jobsite show again, so I wanted to hold on to all the memories that I could. The Belasco Theater framed piece is actually a card given to me by my makeup artist, Lindsay, from Hedwig. Of course, Belasco Theater has its history and, involved with that show, and so it was very kind. I love the piece so much that I have it framed because I love her to death. She was my rock during that show. In this frame, this letter is a cast gift I got during Silence. Carlos, who was working backstage, super sweet kid, for my cast gift, he gave me his poster of Hedwig, which is actually doubled up in the signed poster of Hedwig up there. It's right behind the signed one. He also with it gave me this note in his card, and it was so touching and about after he saw Hedwig and what his thoughts were, and it touched me so much. I will always keep it, and it's in a frame hanging on my wall. More posters, and of course, the mother of them all. Speaking of my mothers, my mother actually hung this piece very dangerously on a ladder, balanced on my handrail going down the stairs. Frightening. But this is what I see every time I go down the stairs. Like I said, it made an impact. Well, that concludes my installment of Jobsite Theaters from the Vaults. I hope you enjoyed my little trip down memory lane and taking a glimpse at all the things I've kept after all these years. Thank you.